What's up, Beneil?
Gentlemen, how are you?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Good.
Good. What do we make of Arman, man? He's a fiery, young up-and-comer with a lot of talent. It's an interesting matchup. How do you see him playing out?
I think he's a stud. You look at him in every aspect. He can fight. He can grapple. He can strike. He can mix it up. And he's 27, I think, or 26. He's a young kid, and makes him dangerous. You know, when you're young, you grow in leaps and bounds. So I don't look at him like his last fight or the fight before that. I look at him like a better version. What could he do to be better? I look at that version and I prepare for that version.
Yeah. In a way, preparing for a younger guy like this, does it keep you sharper, right? I mean, obviously you're going to be trying to grow every time, but knowing that you're fighting almost a younger version of yourself, do you have to sort of really push yourself to the edge and make sure you can meet him head on?
It definitely, I guess you could say, it adds a little wood to the fire, you know, just to make sure I get up in the morning and I make sure I work all the young guys in the gym. But that's like nothing new. I have two requirements for a retirement. One is I'm going to get in that octagon and I won't feel anything. When I have that, I'm done, right? And my other one is when these young guys start outworking me. So if I have somebody in the gym who's outworking me and they're younger than me and I can't keep up with them, I'm done.
Is this a weird fight to take for a man at your point in your career? Because people who watch this sport know how good Arman is, right? But the casual fan maybe won't recognize that name as much. So for you, is there a case of, well, if I go in there and beat him, people might not recognize just how good a guy I beat versus, oh, if I go in there and I might lose to him, it's a younger guy that people don't really know about. Do you know what I mean?
You know, Luke Thomas asked me this question, and he asked like this: what do you gain from this fight? And I would say in terms of status, nothing. I gain nothing from this fight. If I win, I don't think my ranking will change. If I lose, I'm definitely going to get dropped quite a bit. But I'm an athlete who loves to compete, and I like to compete with the best people in the world. And I believe he's one of the best people in the world. So that's what motivates me to compete. It's not an issue of rankings. It's not an issue of status where it's going to lead me. I want to make sure before I retire, I fight the best guys in the world, and I think I'm doing that.
Win or lose, do you see Arman as someone who's going to be fighting for a title one day?
Yeah, it's hard to not see it. He's 27. I don't know. Is he 27 or 26 exactly? But one of those. And he's got such a bright future. For sure, I think he'll fight for the belt. And I think, I think he could definitely be champion one day.
With your own title aspirations, right? Obviously the setback against Charles, but should you beat Arman, probably most people would say maybe one more against a bigger name. Is that how you see it playing out before you could get to a title shot?
Yeah, I think that's how it would be. I need one more bigger name. But it's tricky for me. For some reason, my standard seems to be a little different. So I would assume one more, but you never know. They might have me do just two more.
Yeah, maybe. What happened with Dustin? I saw recently in an interview you said you were getting offered that fight twice. Why has that fight not come together?
Well, I believe, I've seen interviews with Dustin. He's not really interested in fighting me. I don't get him excited, I guess, the way he puts it. But from my understanding is when John Jones got hurt, they were hoping to boost that card up with Dustin Poirier and myself. And they called him, and he wasn't interested. And I believe they even tried for this date. This is what I was told. I'm not sure what he was told on his side, but they were also given the option of fighting this date with me, and he turned down both of them. So that's what I've been told. You know, this is why I like to hear the other side as well, so I can know what actually happened. So, but that's all I got.
Do you kind of then think, well, if he has turned it down twice, I may as well just forget that fight because clearly he's got no interest in it, and you have to look at other names?
Yeah, I mean, I don't talk about Dustin Poirier like I want to fight him. I just mentioned him when they asked me to fight him. Like I moved on. You know what I mean? When they before Charles, he was an option. I said yes. So that's why we talked about him. Now I mentioned him because I thought there was a possibility. That's it. I can't force a man to fight me, right? I'm just the opportunity to fight a guy like Dustin Poirier would be amazing because of his skills and what he's done in this sport. But I understand his legacy, and he wants certain types of fights, and he's done what he's done in this sport. If he wants to he wants to pick his fights at this point, all the best.
The reason I ask is because not for the first time in your career, should you win this, you'll be in a bit of a weird spot, right? Because the 3 guys above you, Gaethje doesn't want to fight until he fights for the title. Charles is fighting for the title next, and you've got Islam the champion. It kind of puts you in a spot where, who do you fight? You're going to be asked to fight down again.
Yeah, which is, just don't make me fight Gamrot again. But I guess that's my only thing. Gamrot, man, that guy was such a stud. Gamrot was an interesting fight because typically when I fight, I can feel people breaking, and he never broke. And that it scared me at the end of the fight. I was like, bro, I couldn't break this guy. So I would have to probably fight down, like you said. And unfortunately, Fiziev is out. So, we'll see. This is looking so far ahead. Ideally, I would like someone ahead of me, but it is what it is.
Back to Saturday then, I mean, it has all the potential of a great scrap, right? 2 guys who are very well-rounded and very good in all areas. How do you see your strengths against his, and where do you have that edge against the younger guy?
I think the edge is going to be in an experience. I think I'm more experienced, and I can find little things here and there to create a greater gap between our skill sets. So a little bit here, a little bit there. I'm hoping I can create a bigger gap and then find that finish, whether it be a submission or a knockout. But the requirement is to be able to pull away slowly because our skill levels are so close and his style is so good that I would need to, break him little by little.
Nice, man.
Hey, Beneil over here. So how important is it, considering, like he just said, like you're kind of like in this weird spot where, all the guys above you are kind of like waiting for their title shots and sort of things like that. So if you are to have to wait and fight back again, are you going to, kind of like demand another main event slot on a fight night like this?
To be honest, I haven't thought about it that far, but the word demand is kind of, I wouldn't say demand, but I look at it as a privilege. If they give me another main event, it's a privilege. I even told Hunter this. Like I texted him, and I told him, man, it's a privilege to be on this card. Because if you look at this card, everybody before me could be the headliner. This is an amazing card, and I recognize that. So to be able to headline this card, I'm stoked. And if they want to do that again, we could definitely talk about it.
And, like you said, it is a stacked card. So how important is it to fight in front of a crowd, especially like a crowd like the Texas crowds that get really rowdy, especially for the main events?
Man, I love Texas. I have a lot of friends here. I come here often, so I love Texas. And to be able to fight in Texas is great. I had a really big win against Tony in Texas, and I didn't have the crowd on my side, but afterwards it was all love. It was something about Texas, man. I love the Southern hospitality. I love the way people treat each other, and I'm looking forward to fighting in front of the fans.
And obviously, like the last outing, it snapped that lengthy winning streak that you had. Is that one that you want to get back? Because I don't believe you've had a rematch with anyone that you've had a setback to. So.
Yeah, I want to get all my losses back. So, of course, I can't understand an athlete who loses and doesn't want that rematch back. I really believe I didn't perform well that fight, and if I do perform well, I can win that fight. So I would definitely want that fight. But, man, if you offered me right now all my losses, rematches, I would take them all. I would. But that's that's a little bit of my OCD as well.
In your training camp you just had, is there anything in particular you focused in on that you see of Arman that you think that you need to zero in on?
Well, I would say he's a great kicker, and he mixes up his striking to takedown. So something I had to be aware of. His ability to mix it up is very good, and I would say it's very high level. So, you could say he's not the best striker, but he's very good at striking. He's not the best grappler, but he's very good at grappling. And I think what elevates his game even more is his ability to mix it up. So that's just something I have to be ready for. Sweet. Thank you, guys.